Okay, welcome back to Greatness Personified. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It'll only take 1 second. It will mean a lot to the channel. It will help us grow. We appreciate you for tuning in. We're about to take a look at UFC 292, Aljamain Sterling and Sean O'Malley. This is going to be a crazy fight. I like this fight because Aljamain, he's starting to get some respect on his name. And low-key, he turning into one of them guys you got to put in the conversation as might be one of the GOATs of the Bantamweight. If he can get past Sean, that'll be crazy.
He's winning these fights that nobody thought that he would win. And even the Henry Cejudo, I didn't think he was going to win that fight. The second Petr Yan fight, I didn't think he was going to win that one.
The only fight he really looked bad in recent history was that first one. Petr one. Yeah. That first one looked awful. I'm not even going to hold
His striking looked bad. He looked uncomfortable.
It almost looked like if things didn't go the way they went, that was one of those fights that make you think that you might not ever shake back. Because I don't think the UFC will be just in a hurry to give you another title fight.
It's something from a movie almost. Because the way he won against Petr Yan in the first fight, and the fact that he came back and said he was going to win. He came back and he won.
No, but I'm talking about the first fight. Yeah. The performance was so bad that a lot of times fighters don't get no second chance when you fight like that. I hate to say it. It wasn't the most exciting fight, and then the part that was exciting was you getting beat so bad. And it didn't even look competitive, man. And for some reason, man, the stars aligned. It's just crazy how that happened. And now he's actually winning these fights, man. And people can say, well, he didn't beat this person or that person, and he's winning by split decision. But look at the people he's fighting against that y'all not really giving him a chance.
He's fighting some GOATs.
He fighting GOATs, bro. And these are some close fights. So it says a lot about how far he's grown.
And that's not his fault that Petr Yan did that knee to him. That's not his fault. And that's Petr Yan's fault for doing that. I hate to say it, man, but outside of Aljamain, Petr been going through it, man. So it seemed like it was more of a Petr thing as far as effing up, more so than Aljamain. But of course, people gonna dump all the blame on Aljamain. And he didn't make Henry Cejudo come out of retirement. Henry chose that fight. They gave that fight to him. And a lot of people thought Henry was gonna win. But here we are. Somebody else that people either like a lot or dislike, Sean O'Malley. Some people really think he has a shot against Aljamain.
He do, to some degree. But this is another one of those people, dude. Sean, we've never really seen this before other than, I guess kind of Alex. Alex Pereira, where they kind of, the person who ain't even ranked jump ahead of everybody else. They fight a contender, they win, now you get a title fight. But Sean is one of the biggest stars in the UFC.
Kinda.
The division was in such bad condition, man. Because he had 2 fights in the whole UFC. At least Sean got a ridiculous resume of putting people out, man. So he been doing this. He didn't work his way through the actual top 10 rankings the way normal people do. But he didn't have to, man. He signed one of the biggest contracts with the UFC. His name, sell tickets. What can you really say, man?
Hey, I can say one thing. He got taken down by Petr Yan.
I know.
If that happened, we know Aljamain was looking at shops.
But we also saw what led to Petr having to get those takedowns.
That's true.
Because he was putting them things on Petr. People said, oh, Petr won based off the takedowns and the control. Yeah, he almost got knocked out before every last one of those takedowns, and he was holding on for dear life. And he was supposed to be the better striker. So,
do you think Aljamain was going to take down TJ like that if TJ wasn't injured?
It's too many questions on TJ, man, but just because of the layoff and then...
true. That's why I hate that fight happened. I wish TJ would have put out that fight. But he wasn't healthy, but if he were there to a healthy TJ...
his shoulder didn't come out until...
No, but he got injured before that because he said he knew he was injured before the fight.
Yeah, but Aljamain was injured before the fight too. He'd been injured before all these fights and he's still been showing up and... so it ain't really no excuse.
I just think that Sean, this is going to be the easiest fight that Aljamain has.
It might be. But I don't doubt, though, that if he put hands on Aljamain, like, it'll be kind of dangerous. But even if he hurt Aljamain, you think Aljamain can still get a takedown?
Absolutely. Yeah. And if he gets a takedown, the fight going to be over. I don't think Sean has the skills to actually survive, if I'm going to just be honest. Even when he fought against Petr Yan, what round was that when he ended the round on his back? I would like to see him pop back up. Because I think anybody else, if Petr Yan would have done Henry Cejudo, anybody else, they would have at least got back up to their feet. Any of these guys in top 5 who has better grappling, I think they would have got back up. But Sean, it was more so him trying to explode up than anything, It seems like he's not as technical as he should be on the ground compared to these other guys. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but these other guys, a lot of them don't be on their back either. So it ain't like they... That's another funny thing, man. It's so funny, dude, because when Petr was on his back, what did he do that was so amazing against Merab? Like when he was on his back, he struggled to get up against Merab, just like Sean struggled to get up against him.
Yeah, but
nobody holds it against him.
But he stuffed like 45 takedowns, though, so I think it's a little bit different.
Yeah, but if
Odu got like 3 takedowns on him, Merab took
But if Merab had took down Sean, he was definitely gonna get more takedowns on Sean.
The fight probably would have been over.
And that's what I'm saying. But nobody holds it against other people. It's just Sean get this bad rep. But I will say this, like you said, man, if Aljamain get them takedowns, I don't know how long this fight will last, but
I think at the very least, Aljamain, he's going to backpack him for 5 rounds.
And we definitely going to see some 10-8 rounds. We're definitely going to see some 10-8 rounds.
It may look like, this fight might look almost like Habib versus Conor McGregor.
Ooh.
Habib versus Conor McGregor one where Conor was clearly winning on the feet. But then again, I think Aljamain's grappling is respectable enough to where he actually can land and hurt Sean O'Malley.
And I was just about to say that his hands are getting better too.
And then at the same time, he can dominate him on the ground. And we're going to see how much heart and how good of cardio that Sean O'Malley has.
And I think both of them are going to be in such good shape. And I think we're going to see the best version of Sean, at least, because I know Aljamain trying to, this was his 5th training camp in a row. Man. That definitely kind of sucks because he just wanted a little bit more time to heal and recover, because he had the Petrovski Young fight, then he had to get neck surgery, then he jumped right back into it, fighting several times in a row against some of the GOATs of the division.
And like you said something, you said heal. This is nothing nobody ever talks about. We've seen Sean O'Malley injured in fights before, you know, and we seen him win fights when he was injured, and we see him lose fights because he was injured. So I'm saying, like,
one loss though.
We talking about durability. Well, one fight, but I'm saying durability is a factor in this fight. We talking about going 5 rounds. If Aljamain could put pressure on them and do leg kicks, and you know what I mean, like maybe he can break him down.
And one thing about it, Aljamain, he really only got to just start making Sean defend takedowns and pump blood through them arms and get tired.
Oh yeah.
And Sean go into defense mode. Them hands ain't gonna be able to fly like they would against, what's the boy name? Chris Mutino? Was that what his name was?
Man.
I know that was a short notice thing, but
another thing is Sean only beat one top tier guy too. I hate to say it, man, but that Petrovski Young fight, which I think he did win. I think he did win though. You can make an argument that each fighter won, but I think Sean won. But I can see the argument that Petrovski won too. But he's the only top tier guy that Sean beat. And Aljamain, he has a whole list of top tier guys he beat.
I know, but before Aljamain did have that list, he had to start somewhere. And that's where Sean is right now. This is where, like, is the new guy going to come in and start his reign as a champion? Or does this solidify, which I think Aljamain is solidified, but does he win this fight and actually be considered in the GOAT? Because he didn't beat the other ones. He beat TJ, who was the GOAT. He beat Henry, and then he beat Petrovski Young, who was not the GOAT, but he looked like he was supposed to be. So he done beat the 3 most recent people with that title. It would make sense to give him that title if he wins this fight, because who would be more deserved?
And Cruz, he never had a chance to fight Cruz, because Cruz, either he was injured or he was losing.
Yeah.
You know, so they never really ran into each other, and it's not his fault that he didn't fight Cruz, because he probably would have won
at this point. So then we get Weili Zhang,
your girl Amanda,
and Amanda Lemos. Man, right when I started just really liking Weili Zhang, then they put her up against the person I like the most in the women's strawweight division, Amanda Lemos. I watch all her fights.
And the last time Weili fought against somebody with some knockout power, she lost, man. Well, really not Jessica, but Rose.
How she got 3 losses out of nowhere?
I thought she was undefeated when she came to UFC. Am I tripping?
She lost. Oh
yeah, one of those bull.
But I thought she was undefeated. Where does other loss come from?
She must have just on a big win streak.
Oh well, I could have sworn they said she was undefeated, man.
Yeah,
maybe I'm tripping.
I did too. But sometimes they might word it in a certain way, like this 20-fight unbeaten streak.
Yeah,
they can word it a certain way to make you think that they undefeated.
And she definitely did not lose that second Rose fight. That was a business decision. And Rose at the time, they was really high on her. And then since then, they've paid dearly.
Because he was going to end up fighting Carla then, if she would have won the fight, and she was going to win regardless.
Yeah, man. Then they try to give her Carla, and
but I'm just saying, dude, when Rose has a lot of knockout power, and so does Amanda. You know, so I'm saying Amanda.
The difference is you never really know what version of Rose you're gonna get. You can get a really good version of Rose, or you can get the I sure want my money back version of Rose.
The real tentative, timid type fighter.
Yeah. But Amanda Lemos, she's definitely not without holes in her game. Don't get me wrong. And she has been beaten, but she only been in the UFC, man. She did get beat by Leslie Smith. That was her first UFC fight. And then she did get beat with a standing arm triangle against Jessica Andrade.
And that was odd.
Because Jessica, again, you never know which version of Jessica you're going to get. But after that, she beat Michelle Waterson. That was an easy W. And then she put it on Marina, and she was real patient and calculated, got past the range.
She was a little too patient, though, man.
But it was a 5-round fight, though. So you gotta.
I'm saying, well,
a lot of time did go by without her.
That's what I was saying, because against Weili, that's 2 rounds she would have lost.
But it's different though, because Marina can control that distance, and Marina's so dangerous.
Yeah,
that's a tough puzzle to solve.
I love Marina, but she made Marina almost question if she wanted to be a fighter. You remember she got hit?
Did Marina lose her next fight after that too?
Yeah, she got held down. You remember she fought somebody
by Verna.
Yeah.
So
then now we got Jeff versus Ian Garrett. We were just talking about this in the car. Ian Garrett has that height and that reach. I think he's gonna give Jeff hell.
And the thing is, I believe that Ian believes that Jeff is the next person up in the rankings who is most similar, like the person he beat last, Daniel Rodriguez, because he's a southpaw. Except for Jeff is a little bit more tentative. And sometimes it can go from being calculated to flat out tentative. If we're being completely honest, I don't think that he won the Ponzinibbio fight, but I think he won the Neal Magny fight. And Ian, I will say this, man, he did look impressive against Daniel Rodriguez. He did some John Jones IQ as far as like how he broke down Daniel Rodriguez's style before the fight. I made a short about that. And he did exactly what he said he was going to do.
The only thing is you ain't fighting Daniel. And Daniel is good. But Daniel did lose to Neal Magny, and Daniel, there's a certain threshold that he never got over. And he was kind of like right hovering over that number 10 spot. He never really made it to the top 10. You know, but I'm saying he's fighting Jeff Neal. And the thing is, Jeff, you can't really hold that last fight against him. You're losing to Shavkat. I hate to say it.
Because nobody else wanted that fight anyway.
Yeah, and he almost went 3 rounds with him too.
And he almost knocked him out. That's the funny part. And then, you know what's so crazy? Ian gets to say, like, nobody else wanted to fight Shavkat. But he trained with Shavkat, don't he, Ian?
Yeah. Oh,
so it's like, oh, you get to duck and dodge all these top guys because you train with them conveniently. I trained with Kamaru. I trained with Shavkat. Who else?
Leon Edwards.
I trained with Leon Edwards. It's like you conveniently train with everybody, so they can't fight you.
So now he's only going to be able to fight 2 or 3 guys in top 10.
I'm not really a fan of that whole thing because the reality is, what would Shavkat have done to Ian Garrett?
Got him out there.
So let's be real. What would he have done to him? So this is a good fight though. It's gonna answer a lot of questions.
I can see Jeff Neal, depending on which Jeff Neal show up. I can see Jeff Neal hurting Ian Garrett. I can see him hurting Ian and having Ian shoot. And you know Jeff got that 90% takedown defense. And then the end is near.
Now it ends.
But I want to know what Jeff Neal's health is, his health status. I don't want to say that he had health problems in his last couple fights, but we don't know for sure. It kind of like he did. He missed weight. He looked bigger than he normally does. I want to know where his health...
He did miss weight, didn't he?
Yeah, he looked bigger. He looked like a middleweight fighting against Shavkat. But I want to know what his health status is, because then I want to know if I can pick him or not. Because if he's not...
Because didn't the Jeff Neal fight with Shavkat, wasn't that supposed to be in December? And then they got pushed back. Was that because of Jeff or was that because of Shavkat?
It's probably because of Jeff.
He was injured. Jeff Neal had got injured. It was supposed to be UFC Fight Night 217, and Jeff Neal got injured. Then they had to reschedule it. So I don't think he was really healthy. There ain't no excuses, you know, at this point. So,
because I hate to say it, but it gets worse from Ian Garrett. It gets worse. You got Michael Morales coming up, Renat.
I know.
You know, Ian, I don't know what his ranking is. He's probably just outside the top 10, but it gets way worse. If you can't beat Ian Garrett.
And then for Ian, look, I don't have a bad thing to say about where he is. He's been working his way up. I will say this though, we know the pros and cons of Jeff. Ian has been passing his test with flying colors because the one big knock was these people that he seemed to be so much better than, for some reason these fights were going to decisions. And then there was this thing where he would look incredible for 2 rounds, and then the 3rd round, it seemed like Darian Weeks started to get the best of him towards the end.
We were just talking about this in the car.
And then it seemed like Gabriel Green started getting
it seems like he take his feet off the gas pedal sometimes, like especially when he's up a round or 2, he'll kind of just sit back and kind of wait and then take less chances.
But then it's weird because then in the next fight, he answered those questions because he finished Kenan Song in the 3rd round. So it's like any little thing that you could pick out about him, he answered those questions. He got dropped by Kenan Song and then finished him, and then he backdoored and took Daniel out in the 1st round. So Ian is in a great place to where it ain't really a whole lot bad you can say about the guy.
Yeah, but he's showing more vulnerability each fight.
When? He didn't
show Gary. When he almost got knocked out in his last fight
against Kenan.
He almost got knocked out. It's Kenan.
That was 2 fights ago.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
And then he finished Kenan in the 3rd round.
My bad, not his last fight, but the fight before that.
And then he finished Kenan.
And the reason why Kenan didn't win is because his corner told him to keep countering. Keep countering.
That ain't got nothing to do with Ian.
That's
he did
true.
what he had to do. I'm saying at the end of the day, he got dropped, then he backdoored to finish the dude. Yeah. It ain't really nothing you can say about him. So he's in a great place right now, man. So this will be a pivotal fight if Jeff needs to win this fight to stay in the top 10 and move forward. And then, I mean, we got Chris Weidman and Brad Tavares. Well, hold on now. Chris coming back from their leg injury. He come back from their leg injury.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this one quick thing. Man, I always felt Brad has been very durable and had longevity in the UFC. But Brad has not really done anything significant, man. I hate to say it. I'm not trying to badmouth him or anything like that. Obviously, tough guy. But Brad been around, bro. But that's just it. He just been around. And now it seems like he's starting to get finished and hurt.
He's been a gatekeeper, man. He's probably been more of a gatekeeper than Neal Magny.
But I'll be honest, though. To be a gatekeeper, don't you have to have been at the top at some point, at the top? to be a gatekeeper. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or he's that bottom tier gatekeeper to where if you get past him, you can get to the top guys. Because he got hurt a lot by Dricus, which that ain't bad. And then he got finished by Bruno in like the first round. So, I don't know, man. Brad got to do something, man, because now he's starting to get put out again. So,
Brad, man. This is a fight for Chris to get back on win streak.
I know.
That's all this fight is.
And it's so bad because Brad got all the athleticism, but it just seemed like he don't have the juice. That killer instinct is like some tentativeness there.
Yeah, he felt like he don't want to get hit almost.
Not, like after he got knocked out by Nate and like he had that bad.
About 3 times in a row.
It was 2 in a row. He had
Robert
a bad
Whitaker and
calendar year. It was Robert Whitaker and Tim Bosch. But then we got Cody Garbrand and Mario Batista. You said this last year, man. Mario was our most improved fighter. This was your most improved fighter, but then I had to jump on board because I said, oh, you right. He cleaned up a lot of them weaknesses, man, and he been getting people out of there. I think this is a terrible matchup for Cody, man. We talked about this. I think Cody did great in his last fight until Trevin started fighting back. It seemed like Trevin literally did nothing for 2 rounds, and in the 3rd round, when he actually started fighting back, Cody started losing. So that made me think, well, dang, if Trevin had started fighting back earlier, Cody might not have won that fight.
But that's what he needed. He needed to fight a lower degree of opponent to get back on the win streak.
But I think it actually kind of hurt him a little bit because...
I don't think so. I don't think it hurt him. He needed this win more than anything psychologically.
I get it, but it's the way things went left at the end of the fight. Because even the commentary, even Daniel, and then even DC, they
saying that, but then Trevin Jones knock out Mario Batista?
When was that?
Go look it up.
But dude, Mario on a win streak right now. Mario on a whole win streak, man. So it's like that's and Trevin ain't in the UFC no more.
Trevin, he was still a little dangerous though, man.
I do understand it, but I'm saying they gave Cody the lowest tier fighter that they could in the division. Who I think he got cut if we looked at that list correctly. Remember?
Yeah.
A few years ago.
Yeah, you're right, man.
Everything was looking good for Cody until it seemed like Trevin started fighting back, and then it would seem like other people gonna start fighting back a lot sooner.
Yeah.
So it looked bad, man. Now, but Andrew Petrovski versus Gerald, man, that's gonna be a good fight. Gerald, he lost to your boy in the last fight, didn't he? Joe Pyfer.
Oh yeah, he got
embarrassed. Meerschaert. So
you never know what you get with him too.
And it looked like Natalia Silva making a quick turnaround against Andrea Lee. That is a winnable fight. This is gonna be the last one we'll talk about. Gregory Rodriguez versus Dennis Tululin. I hope Gregory can get back on a win streak because Dennis, let's be real, if Dennis win, what is he gonna do with it? He's just gonna lose the next.
I want to see Gregory fight against a grappler. All these grapplers in the middleweight division, he's fighting strikers.
But Dennis got 4 losses by submission. That's why. They really hoping Gregory go in there and take him down like he's supposed to and just.
But Gregory don't fight like that though.
And that's what I'm saying. They hoping that he does this. I don't know if he will, but
maybe this knockout loss may make him do that.
Sometimes you get your eyes closed and then open your eyes and then you realize and then you realize what you got to do.
All right, so we end on that.
Man, y'all let us know what y'all think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.